Thank you for joining me. I'm meteorologist Brian Shields. I hope you're doing well. Lots to cover, a cold surge, a couple of them headed in, a southern snow, and I want to zoom down at Trinidad and Tobago as the rain chance picks up the next few days. Lots to cover. We'll cover it all in this video. Now, right now, the cold weather, parts of Canada, northern central U.S., that's where we would typically expect it. But let me jump out in time. We're going to get some of the coldest, or at least chilliest air that a lot of us have seen in years headed our way in the month of January. As we work our way deeper into January, let's jump ahead. This is January 12th, Sunday morning, January 12th. This cold surge moves in. The Arctic air moves into Canada, back into the U.S., and then plunging down to the south. This is where the front is going to be, and this is a strong front by mid-January, sweeping right into the Caribbean. At least northern zones of the Caribbean in much of Central America are going to feel the chill by the middle of the month. And of course, to the north, even colder air. This pocket here surges down to the south. So for many, it will be the coldest air in 2, 3, 4 years, depending on location. Plus, that is going to tie into a southern snow. Let's start with the winds first. And winds are everything when it comes to the temperature, and then that ties into whether you get rain or snow. Now, this is January 7th, so jumping ahead, kilometers an hour and miles per hour on your map. But the point here is really the direction of the wind, not necessarily the wind speed. Let's get into January 11th. This is when that colder air moves in, and you can see why. Look at the winds. Winds out of the north all the way down through Mexico, Belize, Honduras, Nicaragua, down into Costa Rica, even Panama. We may have a little bit of a northerly flow by the middle of the month. And then there'll be those gustier winds, Atlantic waters, and of course back through the Gulf of Mexico, that strong northerly flow. But just to show you how far south this is going to get, and this is a big time front that will be moving in. Now, as far as the snow cover is concerned, now this map's a little bit glitchy. You see this white in here. That doesn't pertain to snow. This is the snow up here. But look what happens as we go out in time. You can see that snow cover is going to be down to the south, parts of Texas, even especially the higher terrain of northern Mexico. There's going to be some snow. Look at that on the edge of Houston, mainly just to the north. This is by January 11th. That snow getting into the southeast U.S., panhandle of Florida. Could see at least some snow flurries back through Mississippi, Alabama, and then Louisiana, Arkansas, parts of Texas, with that snow cover that will be around as we get deeper into the month. To give you an idea of how far south some of this cold weather is going to get. Let's look at the models and tie this all together. Now, most of the systems have been moving west to east. This is that Clipper system moving by the Great Lakes, mid-Atlantic, northeast U.S., moving into the Atlantic region of Canada, which I'll zoom down into in just a second, so hang with me. Let's jump out in time here. Now, this is by January 4th. You see this coastal storm taking shape, lifting up to the north. What that is going to do is kind of help these systems back behind it dig a little bit more down to the south. So this is system number one. This starts to work across January 6th. You see it here. This will set the stage for the bigger and more southern storm track with the second system, but this is the first initial plunge of colder weather. Much of the snow, though, could be anywhere from North Carolina up to the north, so starting to creep a little bit more down to the south. But as system number one moves off, that sets the stage for the second system, which will be stronger and which will be colder. So this is the first one. You see that front getting close to the northern Bahamas right there, southeast U.S., right across the Gulf of Mexico, back toward Mexico. So the initial shot of cold air will be in place January 6th, January 7th, but then as that system departs, that allows another system to develop, and this is the one that will yank down that colder weather even farther down to the south. So you see that snow right there, parts of, as we get back toward Alabama, into parts of Georgia. And look what happens as we go out in time here, as this system winds up and slides off to the east. Now, a couple things, the southern snow for some, and the potential of severe weather as this moves by. We could see some strong to severe storms, southeast U.S., Bahamas, parts of Cuba, even clipping by parts of Mexico. So we need to monitor that angle of it. I'll be watching that for us across the northern northern Caribbean to see if we get any stronger thunderstorms. This is by January 12th as this system winds up and kind of pushes over toward the Atlantic region of Canada. You can see it here moving off the coast of the mid-Atlantic in New England. That could spin in more in the way of snow, but this is that system January 11th, 12th. Look how far south that front gets. We'll have a northerly wind for us in Jamaica by the middle of the month. We are going to have some chillier nights, Cayman Islands, Cuba, and then eventually Haiti, the Dominican Republic, even Puerto Rico will have some chillier nights. And I mentioned, of course, over towards Central America and especially the higher terrain, we'll see some of those colder nights. And you see the front here, this is by January 12th, dipping back toward the DR, Puerto Rico, all the way down through Costa Rica and Panama. That will allow the colder air to move in. Wait and see how much this front will kind of influence our weather back toward Dominica, Antigua, Barbuda, Anguilla. But as of now, this will be diving down for a lot of us as we go over the next couple of weeks. Now, you see this spin here, I was showing you this earlier. This is the one more west to east motion. That'll move away, and then that will set the stage for these bigger systems that will be diving down to the south. But you see this spin right here. That's going to make its way over toward the mid-Atlantic, northeast, and the Atlantic region of Canada. Severe threat is low. Backside of it, we are getting brushed by some snow over toward parts of Wisconsin. Here's this all bubbling up here. Here's some of the rain here, but another area we're going to be watching carefully over toward Trinidad and Tobago, northeastern Venezuela, northern Guyana for that increased chance of rain. I'll zoom down in just a moment. Let me start with this here to take you through the day. Scattered areas of rain from Trinidad back toward Nicaragua, watching Providencia over toward San Andres, the Corn Islands, seeing some of that rain that's around. We're going to be on the edge of this in Jamaica. That could give us some scattered showers over the next few days. You see that rain right here once again near Honduras as we work our way into tomorrow. And then watching this surge of moisture as we work our way through the week, Wednesday into Thursday, tomorrow into Thursday, even Friday, we're going to see that rain chance that will be picking up. So let's go out in time here. You can see that rain building right there near Trinidad, back through Guyana. And that's why I mentioned that chance of some flooding will be a possibility in parts of Trinidad and Tobago, more so southern end of Trinidad, where we'll have a better chance of getting some flooding, scattered rain all the way up toward Belize as we work our way deeper into the week. So I do want to zoom down here, 3-day totals. This is mainly a couple days from now, but some of that white showing up, that corresponds to about 100 millimeters of rain or 4 inches of rain. That is a possibility, not for all of us. You see as we get toward Tobago, rain maybe 10 to 25 millimeters of rain, maybe up to an inch of rain, but heaviest rain will be more to the south than clipping by northeastern sections of Venezuela and Guyana, which I'll zoom down to in just a second. But giving you that heads up that as we go over the next few days into the end of the week, the rain chance is going to be building in Trinidad. We'll have some isolated flooding. So thank you for spreading the word about that. Now, we'll zoom into a couple areas in just a second. Let me talk about the wave heights for a moment. We're okay now through the Caribbean and the Gulf of Mexico. Atlantic waters, gale warnings in effect as you get over toward Bermuda. But as we get deeper into the upcoming month, January, of course, things all turn more of a mess. This here is by January 5th. We get that first front moving by. So by the time we get into the upcoming weekend, we are going to see more in the way of choppier seas, rougher seas, Caribbean, Gulf, and the Atlantic waters. Only gets worse as we work our way deeper into the month of January with bigger systems moving off. Here's that little clipper system, but Newfoundland, we're seeing some of that rain that's around, maybe a little bit of a mix, maybe some sleet pellets sneaking in with this one system that's moving away and weakening. But here's this kind of pivoting back to the northeast. There's some of the snow, Maine, and then swinging back over toward parts of New York and Quebec. And then as we get into New Brunswick, we'll see some of that rain changing over to snow. This is by tomorrow afternoon. Then this area will be lifting up to the north. There's the rain in Newfoundland. And then on the backside, maybe get some of that snow scraping by Prince Edward Island over toward Nova Scotia as we work our way into Thursday. Total shouldn't be too high. Now, here's a zoomed in look at some of the rain. I mentioned Jamaica. We're kind of on the edge of it. Cayman Islands too, with some of the higher totals just to the south. Bahamas, we have some cold weather that will be moving into January. I'll be highlighting that from Freeport back through New Providence as we go forward. Rain totals for many of us, not really on the high side. Here we are in the northeastern Caribbean. A lot of us just simply stay dry, but as we swing into the southeastern Caribbean, I was showing you some of those higher totals. Not as much Barbados, St. Lucia, St. Vincent, the Grenadines, and Grenada, but Trinidad and Tobago through northern Guyana, that's where that rain chance will be higher. In northeastern Venezuela, That'll lend itself to 100 millimeters of rain or 4 inches of rain, scattered areas of rain. That could give us an inch, maybe 2 in Suriname, and then staying very unsettled across Central America. We're going to see this pattern into the month of January. Scattered areas of rain that could give us a quick 2 inches of rain or 50 millimeters of rain, but more of these fronts will be working in for the upcoming month, Mexico City up through Texas, generally on the dry side. So rain chance not super high on the edge of it for us in Jamaica, but it doesn't mean some of us aren't going to get some rain. We'll have some isolated to scattered areas of rain. I'll be watching that. Cayman Islands, most of it staying just down to the south, but as we work our way into Trinidad and Tobago, again, southern sections especially, look how the rain chance builds. 40% today, 60% chance tomorrow, and a 70% chance of rain southern sections by the time we get into Thursday. But Barbados, yeah, a little uptick on Thursday, but our rain chance at about 30%, staying on the low side in St. Lucia for us the next 3 days, a 10 to 20% chance, building a little bit in Grenada, 30, maybe 40% chance. As we work our way into Thursday, about a 20% chance, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, 10 to 20% chance the next 3 days in Martinique. And you see that rain chance, we're mainly dry in Dominica, mainly dry in Guadeloupe. The rain chance simply staying low, just kind of zooming through this. Could get an isolated shower in Antigua, Barbuda. By the time we get to Thursday, rain chance gets a little higher on Thursday. St. Kitts and Nevis and Montserrat, a 40% chance. 10 to 20% chance the next couple of days, Anguilla and St. Bart's, 10% chance the next couple of days, St. Martin, Saba, and Statia. Rain chance builds to about a 30% chance isolated in Puerto Rico by Thursday, holding on to a very small 20% chance U.S. and British Virgin Islands right through the end of the week. Bahamas, we're going to be looking at some of that colder weather later in the month. Rain chance stays on the minimal side. Turks and Caicos, we're generally dry, and the rain chance not very high in the Dominican Republic, 20, maybe 30% chance, mainly dry over toward Boston Blue as we work our way back toward Haiti the next few days. Rain chance starts to build. Scattered areas of rain will start to pick up for us in Belize, from Ladyville back toward Hopkins, over toward Belize City. 20 to 30% chance in Aruba, 30% chance tomorrow and Thursday, Curacao, and about a 20 to 30% chance in Bonaire. But as I mentioned, northern sections of Guyana closer to the water, rain chance higher. Watching out for some areas of flooding. Very active the next few days, and watching that as well as we work our way back toward Suriname. Rain chance stays on the low side on Cuba as we await the fronts coming in January. Rain chance stays scattered to even widespread in spots. Costa Rica and Panama over the next 3 days. Nicaragua, 50% chance for today. 40% chance today in Honduras. 60% chance, though, tomorrow closer to the water, and a 50% chance on Thursday. 50 to 60% chance of scattered showers. Guatemala and El Salvador, Mexico City were generally dry. 20 to 30% chance over toward Merida, back toward Campeche, Cozumel, and Cancun. Northern Colombia, rain chance on the low side. Northeastern sections of Venezuela by Thursday, that higher chance of rain closer to Trinidad. Bermuda, just watching some of the tail ends of fronts that will be moving by. So January brings a big chill for many. Strong fronts are going to be sweeping down to the south, and even watching out for the possibility of some thunderstorms mixing into that for this week, though, watching that rain building back toward Trinidad. So we have a lot to cover, a very much more active pattern for this upcoming January than what we had last year. So I'll be covering it for you. Hope you're doing well. I'll get to your comments throughout the day. Thank you for taking the time to subscribe to this channel. Have a wonderful rest of your day.